immediate explosion of the tank car shook our house. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. "31 cars from a Canadian Pacific train derailed approximately 500 feet from my backyard. 7 of them completely emptied their contents of anhydrous ammonia, anywhere in the number of 260 to 280,000 gallons of anhydrous. We were not evacuated from our homes until about 6 to 7 hours after the time of the train derailment, because they could not get in the area to get us because the cloud, the ammonia, was so thick you could not see your hand in front of your face. Most of us were displaced out of our homes 8 to 11 weeks. My health has suffered in the last 4.5 years, my wife and my daughter and son. We're very angry. It's something I would not wish upon any individual ever, and I hope it never happens again."
There have been a number of deaths, and derailments have caused a lot of injuries, and that is one that I think people all through South Dakota and in Minnesota ought to be concerned about. This is a threat to Mayo Clinic because, as with any railroad, there's always the possibility of a derailment.
The DM&E, based upon my evaluation, and I evaluate railroads my entire professional career, it's one of the worst I have ever seen, statistics-wise. Whatever criterion you use, they rank among the worst of any carrier in the country in their class. I classify this railroad as a poster child for how not to operate a railroad safely. Whatever criterion you use, it's just unsafe at any speed.
A derailment that would involve a rail car that carried some highly toxic chemical that, if it was released, could have the potential for creating a plume that would engulf our downtown area. And we know that the people that are within that hot zone, that the likelihood of them suffering life-threatening, if not life-ending conditions is very high. And aside from spills, there's always the increased incidence and probability of accidents with other vehicles that may be crossing the tracks as well. As you increase trains and their speeds, you're going to increase the probability of those accidents. Exactly by how much, I don't think I could say, but if we go from 2 or 3 trains a day to 30 or 40 trains a day, we've got about a 10-fold increase in probability just with numbers of trains. And then if they're increasing their speeds from now about 5 to 10 miles an hour to 30 or 40 miles an hour, that's going to increase the probability and the severity of an accident as well.
I think the number one item is that downtown Rochester and the hospitality industry depend on the clinic, and anything that puts the clinic's ability to operate at risk, if there was a spill or any kind of a hazardous situation, would certainly just devastate downtown Rochester.
The DM&E project doesn't make sense from a practical point of view because you're asking the United States government to spend $2.5 billion of our tax money to supplement a railroad that is worth $100 million. This loan will never be paid back according to Bearing Point. And you use public money for public services. This is not a public service. It's a private enterprise. They want to make money on a railroad? Have at it. Go raise private money. You can be in the railroad business too.
We did a fairly straightforward analysis of the DM&E's own projections. We took the volume projections, what they expected to ship as presented in their STB application, and then we applied market rates to that, using today's market environment, what they could earn on what they're shipping. We then simply subtracted what normal costs are, what you have to pay the employees, pay for upkeep of the track, et cetera. And when we did that analysis, we came to a conclusion that there's no way in the current market environment that the DM&E could repay the loan based on any information that we've seen. So, in fact, this loan is not a loan at all. It's a gift, because if the loan can't be repaid, then basically you're just giving DM&E the money.
What makes the Mayo Clinic different than almost any other facility in the world is the tremendous reputation for quality health care that it has now developed. It is a treasure unlike any we have in the country. To jeopardize it in any way would be one of the most ridiculous and most tragic things that I can think of doing. For the sake of the Mayo Clinic, for the sake of healthcare, for the sake of the ability to carry on for generations in the future, we've got to ensure that it's protected and that situations like this are resolved successfully.
The fact of the matter is, this impacts our mission in healthcare. This impacts everything we're all about and everything we do. And it's for that reason that all of us are so important to helping the public understand and to help our elected public officials understand how important it is to find a satisfactory solution to this issue. There's got to be a way to achieve all of the goals that have been laid on the table, including protecting the safety of our patients, the viability of our organization, and the safety of our community.